Fala, amiguinhos! Petar de volta com mais um vídeo de Overwatch pra vocês e hoje mais uma partida da Copa do Mundo de Overwatch que você acompanhou da Blizzcon com a nossa narração em português do Brasil exclusiva pra vocês. E como não conseguimos pegar aí a partida do Brasil contra a Suécia no primeiro dia, né, não consegui narrar, vou trazer pra vocês aqui com a narração em inglês mesmo, que foi feita pelos casters lá no evento ao vivo. Então vou deixar vocês aí com a partida entre Brasil e Suécia, válidos pela Copa do Mundo de Overwatch de 2016. Espero que vocês curtam. Se você curtir, deixa um gostei aqui no vídeo, deixa um favorito, se inscreve no canal e manda aí nos comentários qual seria a sua seleção brasileira ideal, beleza? Compartilha também com os amigos. E se você tiver nos smartphones ou nos tablets, clica no sino do lado do botão de se inscrever para receber as notificações. Valeu e fui!
So he's a very fully educated man. I believe it was it Kyo's the other guy? There was two engineers in there. Yeah, Flaws.
Oh no, Flaws. Sorry, just handed in his thesis in constitutional law before getting on the plane to come here. So talk about juggling priorities, Lee. Let's see if he can do it in game.
Far cleverer than I am, that's for sure. But we are seeing something interesting. I don't think we're going to see Torbjorn staying there. I'm pretty sure Solo's going to have fun with that one. Meanwhile, there we go. The switch out comes. So let's have a look at Sweden. There the man's on defense. It is going to be a, I would say, fairly standard defensive setup this time around. We're not seeing the triple tank, which is good. This is good, I think. Bearing in mind it's Sweden. Obviously, a lot of influence from the NIP households. But thankfully, we're not going to have that this time around.
No, and we shouldn't in the future, purely because IDDQD and Tvik, you probably won't see them playing tanks. Maybe just Tvik, but we'll see now. We're going to be kicking off. Here's Eversai already gets himself a bit of free energy to start off with. And Sweden now will just try and gain some early information on Brazil before deciding how to strike at the heart.
Let's see how IDDQD does on that May as well. Something I need to keep my eye on at the moment. But next stage, going to be coming around. Sylive with the Hanzo, gets a little peek, gets a little glimpse around the side, tries to chip down Coco's shield. Is it going to be enough though? Tvik goes aggressive, gets himself caught with an arrow, gets quickly healed back up, but next stage goes down. That will stop the attack. They're going to try and push through, but it is going to backfire on Brazil.
Because it's difficult here for Sylive to make an impact in the fight. You can see he backed away, and in that small space of time, Brazil had already lost 2 players. It seems as if maybe of 2 minds, if they were going to engage, that maybe Sylive wanted to be front and center, ready to deliver arrow after arrow. But Sweden fairly comfortably bending with that attack and snapping back like a sapling in the breeze. And they're going to solidify here.
So, Zevasai taking some damage, but that's about all it's going to be. And we've seen a lot of adjustments throughout this map. I'll get back to that because it looks like they're just going to rush straight through that middle. I'm not sure it's going to work out. Quick sleep down Kyo, the Reinhardt around the side. Solive continues to pick himself up, kill after kill. Zebasai gets him shield back up, but gets taken down by Next Dark came in. But Solive's got himself his Dragon Strike ready and waiting to go. He's not going to pull the trigger just yet. Waiting for something to set it up. IDDQD does manage to take the stage, and suddenly it's looking good for Brazil on the push.
There's always a feeling of inexorability sometimes when the attacking team has a Hanzo. It's a matter of time, but Coco's going to come in and try and slow this one down. He gets a nano boost, need charging forward, Vita Grenade used, but to no avail. Coco still gets himself 2 kills, and Chips Hyen, who may be a support player, but he's a very scary one at that, will find Edu and clean up Brazil and push them back. 2 minutes and 10 seconds remain.
I guess they're just waiting for Flaws to get that Graviton surge built up, ready and waiting to go so Solo can pull the trigger. You need a setup time. Obviously, these are pro players. They're going to dodge out the way of a Dragon Strike that just comes straight their way. So something needs to set it up, and we're waiting for that charge to be built by Flaws.
Sylive currently has 45% of Brazil's total damage.
Blimey.
That is so much to one player. We need to see more from players like Next Stage and Flaws to get in the backline and actually complete these kills. It's not enough to rely on a Hanzo plinking arrow after arrow, even though it got them close.
It's getting them close. Flaws going in, trying to get that Graviton surge built up 90%, but it doesn't matter because the counter comes in. Next stage gets Coco down, but the rest of his team are falling. And Tvik comes flying through. IDDQD picks himself at 1. Tvik didn't even need to use the Death Blossom there. Just simple left clicking was enough.
And Tvik's chin looking in fine form as much as his damage dealing as well at this stage. And look, this is the thing. Sweden aren't feeling pressured enough to actually have to dig deep in the pocket and let the full suite of ultimates go. Sylive is doing a lot of good damage, but you're supposed to get yourself a 6v5 scenario, and then your teammates should be able to sort of close the gap and actually exacerbate that advantage. Sweden are playing from behind sometimes when they're losing a player to Hanzo. It's a 5v6 and they're still winning.
It's something that shouldn't really be working, but look at the stack now. Brazil, they're going to have 4 big ultis. Graviton Surge needs to be hit in the right place. That wasn't very good. It's going to get him with the Dragon Strike. I'm not too sure it's going to quite be enough. It isn't. Solov only gets himself the 1, but it's Coco. Is that going to be crucial enough? I don't believe so, because look at Sweden. They just put down the big ice wall and say, hey, Brazil, you know, you're used to those hot temperatures in your country. How do you like the ice?
I love this. Coco is second for damage done on Sweden. He's doing more damage than IDDQD and Zebasai. Of course, a big part of that is the fact that Chips is sending him forward with a pat on the shoulder and a nano boost into the bloodstream, as it were, but it's working beautifully for Sweden. Everyone chipping in now. They've got a Blizzard. This could just stop Brazil in their tracks. There's 10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, just 10 seconds to push that payload and get it to its first marker. The wall is ready. IDDQD is ready to strike. You can see he's hopping, he's skipping, he's waving. He wants to throw it out. And there goes the Blizzard. There goes the wall. The team gets separated. And there goes the game for Brazil.
Now IDDQD getting himself 2 kills there. The Ice Spikes are finding their marks, and that is going to be a tough way for Brazil to be going out. Coco again making sure he features heavily on the scoreboard. Overtime will expire, and Sweden completely unruffled by Brazil as they hold at the first choke point of the map.
It's a tough old mistress, is Dorado, and it is a very hard first point to push through. And Sweden looking all the more confident and basking, I feel, in one of their favourite tags. We heard from IDDQD earlier on, and, you know, talking about how happy he is. Looking at Zave, actually, he looks a lot better now, obviously having a problem earlier on. And, you know, Sweden have come into this one so confident. They've been going around the whole event so confident, full of swagger. And obviously for them to pick a win up here over Brazil would be a great start for them. It's looking like they're most likely going to take the first map, because that wasn't a deep marker for them to reach.
Not at all. I mean, they can get that in a very short period of time. This actually means that Brazil, because of how done, I guess, close that point is, will probably have to defend as far forward as possible. That will give them maybe enough time to respawn back in if they do lose a fight. But it's tough. It's so challenging, and your margin of error is so low when you're challenging the attacking team right in front of their spawn. So really, if your team dies instead of defensive spots here once for Brazil, you're done. You can't reinforce in time. So they don't have the choice. They don't have the option to play passively or take passive positions, because if they get shelled out, they only get one chance.
I think that's why we're seeing this very aggressive position up on the high wall. See if they can maybe push on round, see, try and pick something off early. But if they do get picked off, if anyone gets hooked down, maybe they're in trouble. But I'm looking across towards Sweden. Doesn't look like they're going to go with the hog. You see Solov is on the hog. Tavik deciding to run on the Hanzo this time. Obviously, we saw it on the attack for Brazil. Let's see how his arrows fly.
IDDQD going to be picking up the McCree here as well. Now, normally, like we've sort of said, IDDQD likes to take a back seat in terms of his positioning and pick people off from afar. He's a big left-click aficionado, and I love him for it. But here, he might just want to get up in people's faces, throw flashes, and go for the fan to happen.
Well, gets himself a quick look at the vision. They see where the hog is. They know exactly where it's coming. Gets the quick ricochet there to Vik, and you can see that ult percentage starting to build up slowly but surely. He looks across. He knows his range as well, and Solai forced to back away. Now remember, the golden marker is just around the corner here. There's the ricochet arrow, and Solai goes down. That may well be all she wrote.
That's the worst person to lose in this fight. Brazil have no real kill potential now, lacking that one. Hopefully next stage can do something about this, but now we can see Sweden start to apply further pressure on towards this fight. Next stage finds Zebasai, but not before Keo goes down. Tvik gonna let the Dragon Strike go, and it's gonna be Flaws that's caught in the jaws. Nothing to do but just to take it. Tvik follows up with 2 more kills. It's the arrow that finds Insanity. Easy enough, and this payload is well and truly on the move. That's it. Sweden hardly break a sweat, and Tvik gets himself 3 kills. You blink and you miss it, Lee.
Blink and you miss it. It is a tough old nut to crack. If you don't get the flip twice, quick in there, on the A and the B side, if you don't push through straight away, it can be very tricky. Here it is on your screen, of course. There is the first section you get through, capture out that point and push on through into the temple.
I mean, it's just the idea, of course, about not letting the enemy team, the defensive team, stabilize and get rolling, because if they can build an ult advantage, the defensively biased nature of this last point allows defensive teams to win fights while maintaining good economy of ultimates, i.e. you only need maybe 1 or 2 ultimates to win a fight in that area because the terrain favors you, whereas the attacking team might need to use them more than that at least. If you can get in a position where you're using those ultimates efficiently as a defensive team, you can weather many, many ways of attackers and generally just sit back comfortably. And you can also force some mistakes from the attackers who are going to get more and more desperate as the round goes on.
Well, here's the spawns, and we're seeing Tavik on the Junkrat. It is a very viable hero on this map, something we've seen before, but not so far throughout the day, actually. I don't recall seeing the Junkrat on Anubis as of yet. We have, however, seen some Widowmaker play earlier on. We're seeing Solive on it right now. We'll see whether he sticks to it, of course. He is in the attacking side, so he can make some switches, of course. 17 eliminations, 1 death. Is that in from that last map? It must be.
Yeah,
obviously, he was on the Hanzo at the end on the attack, but obviously on the defensive side, he wasn't.
Yeah, no, so very good game to pick on the Hanzo now as well. And look, if we do see this Widow come out from Brazil, which is entirely possible, Tavik has to be a little bit more careful. Widowmaker and Farah give a Junkrat a lot of problems because he can't really damage them. The only way he interacts with them is normally taking damage from them. So Tavik needs to keep his head down if we do see Solive go up. But again, you've got IDDQD, who, to be fair, has the ability to challenge out a Widow. Get 2-3 headshots at that kind of range and you will be able to kill her. A bit risky, but he'll do it.
Let's see how it works out here, ladies and gentlemen. Sweden take the standard position. Sitting up on the side there, I just saw Solive go up, but immediately you see his hit points go down. That means he managed to get tagged out by IDDQD the second he hits the hedge. Yeah, or Coco even with a fire strike, who knows. Anything could have hit him, but there he is, and immediately gets tagged up. So did IDDQD.
Yeah, confidence from IDDQD going for that next shot. He can manage Solive. The fact Solive actually dropped to Tavik there as well. I'm unsure if Solive dropped on towards a remote mine or something similar. Still, Chips as well going to be able to get himself another kill. That's going to be Keo going down, and IDDQD, man to be watching here as well, was very much involved in the fight on Dorado. His mate was actually quite good, where many would maybe not consider that to be a mainstay for him. He did have to play a lot of it for Fnatic as we started to see the Reaper main meta become stronger, and Buds being that dedicated Reaper player for the team.
IDDQD's got himself his Deadeye available, as does Chips with the Nano Boost. Tavik also got himself that Riptide. We'll see whether he lets that loose in a moment, but it doesn't look like they need to. They're going to keep the mines tossed out there, looking to get Solive there, actually. Did you notice the mine getting tossed to the high position? Solive does take himself a bit of a hit, but that's building up insanity, so he's now has his Nano Boost ready to go.
But you see Tavik's respecting that little bridge at the top of the doorway. He knows if Solive gets up there, he could be in trouble, but IDDQD takes him down. The McCree on towards the Widowmaker there. Range is not an option clearly for the Gunslinger, and now the fight continues as it's going to be Sweden pushing back. Kyo falls, so does BRK. IDDQD gets himself 3 kills over that fight, completely dominating Brazil.
He must have caught them on the left side. I didn't see whether he caught them on the exits. I feel that must have been where it was then. But either way, Sweden's starting to build up a pretty heavy ult percentage across the board. Haven't needed to use it yet. That Riptide's just going to get stored up, I feel. Genji switch coming in here for Solive, deciding the Widowmaker not working out so well.
Yeah, I mean, again, is it too late already? 2 minutes now. Solive thought about the Reaper, yeah, now the Genji, so he definitely wants to get that Dragon Blade going fairly soon. Insanities has held onto that Nano Boost. He actually had it a little bit earlier on in the fight as he was able to farm up a little bit of healing. But who's going to receive that one? Kyo can't access the high ground on Reinhardt. There's no point giving him a Nano Boost because he's going to be unable to access the enemy team, Sweden, who is standing up there. So I'd probably say he's going to save it for Solive, but Solive needs to be throwing shurikens real quick to get that ready. But now it's going to be the Graviton Surge. He's a neutral Graviton. There's a lot of sound barriers coming out here as well. Solive gets himself 2 kills, and it looks like Brazil actually winning out in this fight. Nicely done, Solive with 4 from that fight. Incredibly chaotic, blink and you miss kind of stuff here. But Brazil, as the smoke clears, come out on top, and they didn't even use a sound barrier there.
Perfect position for a Dragon Blade when everybody is stacked in one position. You just need to stand still and swing your left click and chop away.
So, your birthday cake.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 minutes on the clock now for Brazil to push through. Gifted an opportunity, you may say, from Sweden there to take that first point. Now, let's see what they can do on the second.
I mean, Sweden want to make use of the Junkrat, so they have to sort of push and try and fight mostly around those more enclosed areas. But Junkrat, a little bit fragile, got caught up in the mix. Now moving forward, we've seen Tavik actually switch over towards the Mei here. I mean, the amount of control that she gives you on this last point is unparalleled. It's a wide open area. It's very hard to avoid the Blizzard if you're going to be standing in it when it's thrown. You see, Floors checks up. Often there's a Reaper up on top of that platform there. They're very hard to see, but Floors is one of the best people on Brazil to deal with it. IDDQD, though, is not ready to go in with the Death Blossom and Nano Boost combo, so he's going to sit back for now until that's ready, and then he'll probably go back up there himself.
Chips trying to keep himself also out of the action. You can see him just up the side there. Solive forced him off the position. Tavik goes in, and here goes Sweden. They go aggressive on the defense. They get pulled in by Graviton Surge, but it's not enough to slow them down. Coco goes through the charge, pushing him through the Surge, and immediately manages to pick off the rest of the team. You're just losing time there, Edo. Might as well die with the rest of your team.
Yeah, and one thing that Eddie was talking to us about that he was trying to learn for Brazil, actually a very similar situation to Muselk on the Australian roster, is that I'm coming on and playing Lucio, not necessarily my main, but I picked that one up knowing that that's the best way to maybe limit liability is the way they put it there. And learning timings, when that sound barrier needs to happen, when the speed boost needs to happen, as I think that's the most important ability in the game. So you need to know and respect how to use that properly.
Well, Tavik sitting here, you can see him on your screen with Blizzard ready to go, so the second the wall fails, the second the shields fail, the Blizzard is a great fallback option. Just took a big hit there though. Didn't see what it was that hit him. Maybe some of the shurikens flicking by, or maybe even an icicle right click from next stage. We can see he's ready with the wall, trying to split them off. Meanwhile, up the top there, you can see IDDQD just flanking around with the Reaper. Nobody's dealing with him really.
Here it is. Gonna be Sleep Dark going towards Solid. He wants to go with the Dragon Blade there. He's gonna get Frozen Solid straight away, and of course the Bardic Grenade Lee. There's no healing available, and even if it was, he wouldn't benefit from it.
And IDDQD just drops down and says hi with the Death Blossom, and that will be the end of Brazil's attack once again. It was set up so much, and this is what I was saying. Obviously, with Solai focusing on trying to get that little flanking maneuver, and sure, it might work against lesser teams. They were completely ready for it. They didn't need to pull the whole team to deal with it, and it gave IDDQD plenty of time. He was sat on that ledge. Nobody was dealing with him. He was just sat on that ledge, plinking away, left licking.
Solai just got picked off there by Coco. I'm pretty sure that was a fire strike thrown out by him as well. Now you're getting a little bit upset if you're Genji and you're falling to that kind of stuff. There's no better way to put a Genji in the dumpster than a sleep dart. Of course, we saw that from Chips before. So, Brazil, I'd say frustration would be something they need to be aware of now, or at least combating it, because it has to be creeping in by this point, Lee.
Well, Coco, I think you just saw the little icon there. They're waving. They're waving through the doorway right now, Sweden. Waving and saying, come on in. 2 minutes to go. Will they pull the trigger? You can see IDDQD. He's getting a lot of free reign up here. Solai forced to back away once again, getting them shots off. They've not really got anybody to deal with him. There is no McCrease. There's no one just jumping on him. Cuts down. Oh, that's a completely separated Reinhardt, but that may well work out. No, it gets blocked off. The Blizzard catches everybody in, and Brazil suddenly pile on through. It's a brilliant combo coming out from Brazil. And Sweden fall for it. Hook, line, and sinker.
A moment of confidence there, perhaps overconfidence from Sweden. They were waving at Brazil. Now they might be waving goodbye to this point as Brazil standing tall, in fact, upon it. They managed to get the wombo down. They managed to get a bunch of Sweden caught up in those ults, and now it's desperation for Sweden. Great Blizzard coming out here from Victor. This might be just what they need. Chips coming in on the Tracer. They're already in stall mode with that one ult. Blizzard is so strong at controlling points and stalling out takes. Sweden can breathe a sigh of relief because they've been given a stay of execution. But they'll do well to remember to respect what Brazil could do with those ultimates.
Yes, a little respect, I feel, was certainly earned there by Brazil. A little moment of sheer panic by Sweden. If it was only a little closer, the fact that it was in that door when they had to cross the bridge, it gave them that spawn time, that extra couple of seconds required to get out and obviously use those ultis. Solive gets himself a little peek around the side, but the problem is now for Brazil, they're down to a minute. They've just used their big wombo combos. They don't have any Graviton Surge. They're going to use the sound barrier. They're going to try and push in, but the walls across the bridge, both home and away walls going either side.
Got to be a Dragon Blade now for Solo. He needs to stop this, but no, he's going to get caught in there. Not great timing at all. He tries to go for the Dragon Blade, but yet another Blizzard is available to flick, and that on itself, or on its own, should I say, has been what's stopping Brazil from getting over the line here. They used a sound barrier there, and credit to Edu, that was well timed. It actually allowed Kyo to stay alive to get the kill against Coco, but all they've got is the Dragon Blade that was refunded to Solive, and they've got the Earth Shatter. That is it, and there's 10 seconds remaining.
They've got to go. There's going to be a wall from Tavik to block them coming in the front door. You got to feel that's just going to slap up in the faces. There we go, separates them. Graviton Surge is ready and waiting. Solive tries to come in, but they instantly turn and deal with him. A Blizzard goes down though from Brazil. Is it going to be enough? No, Chips High manages to chime in with a kill on Solive. That's the Dragon Blade dealt with, and now the hammer is let loose from Coco as he swings away for the fences, and it looks like it will be Sweden that will hold on strong against Brazil on Temple of Anubis.
Brilliant stuff there. Sweden managed to respond. Yes, they let Brazil get a foot in the door, but not quite all of the way. They will prevent Brazil from finishing the map. And that means that all Sweden needs to do themselves is to finish.
Definitely some different body language from Sweden there. Not quite the happy, jovial, smiley. They realized they caught a little bit of a break there. They were a little overconfident, as you said, and they got caught in a pretty mean wombo combo from Brazil. And, you know, you got to look towards the probably later end of this tournament, this exhibition, Overwatch World Cup, and you've got to be thinking, other teams maybe would have paid the price there. They would have definitely caught them out. But then again, would they also be respecting their opponents a little more?
Again, I really do feel that Blizzard in those situations is an absolute get-out-of-jail-free card. To be fair, Sweden probably should have lost there. That should have been where the capture occurred. But I've got to say, despite that, despite the Blizzard being incredibly strong in that regard, Zebasai has played an incredible series. This guy started his career off with Misfits, or they were actually at the time ironically known as Graviton Surge, as their McCree player. Then he switched towards Lucio, and that's sort of what he does more in the side of Misfits now. But his Xayah is so good. He has had 66% average energy on that Xayah. You are hitting very, very hard, but even more than that, top damage on his team. That's more than Mei. That's more than IDDQD's Reaper even. Incredible stuff from Zebasai, really. 25 for 2 he currently stands in eliminations. And a lot of those kills have been occurring over on that point where the fighting's been getting a bit messy. Great stuff from him. Really want to highlight him here because oftentimes the Xayah players don't always get the recognition they deserve.
Absolutely. Well, we've seen these positions before, haven't we? Next stage, choose to not stick up the top there, actually. Deciding to go a little bit more aggressive. But look at this. Solive's going to be on the McCree this time around. We've seen that in scrims, but IDDQD is still sitting on the Widowmaker. Is he going to stick to it? Is he going to go looking for those frags? It looks like he will. And Tavik on Genji.
That's really interesting from IDDQD. I don't really recall seeing much of Widow from him ever. But I guess if Vic wants to play Genji and actually work towards a Dragon Blade, there's no point in him playing Widow to start things off. So a bit of damage there from IDDQD here. Kyo needs to keep that shield up front and center now and make sure he protects his team. Otherwise, that's going to happen. IDDQD picks Insanities out of the mix, and that's possibly the worst case scenario you could ever fear for Brazil. And their Solo going to fall as well. IDDQD may fall, Lee, but the damage has surely already been done.
The damage is done. When you pick off the Ana in the first shot, that's just about the worst you could hope for. Talking about Zebasai, he picks himself up a quick triple there, so nets himself the point in the bag as well. Sweden going to have a bag of time. 7 minutes and 18 seconds to charge on through and try and flip this in quick fashion and win out the game.
And now they're going to push quickly as well. Try and catch Brazil before they can really find their footing on this point. Neither team really has big ultimates to work with, and curiously, IDDQD is going to stay on this Widowmaker. Hasn't really felt overly threatened. If he can pick up Solive first, he doesn't have to worry about anyone really taking him out at range. But already you can see that Tokos jumps straight on. Zebasai gets onto a Solive, but that's a great pick off to start this fight. Tvik now going to come in and Genji, and look at this. This is perfect. Dragon Blade available for him. There's not going to really be anyone left to kill, though, Lee.
He's looking for a target. You can see him looking around. It's like, where is everyone? I can't get anyone. It doesn't matter. Sweden are going to do it, it seems. They're going to try and throw the Diva on the side. They're going to try and contest, but they can't get close enough. It is all over, and Sweden will take it in a quick 2 maps.
Impressive performance from there as well. You can see Coca looking a little bit more pleased with himself now after that performance, and that means Zebasai, incredible series from him, really. Sweden have said, over this last few days of scrimming, we have actually found some challenges in interpersonal relationships amongst the team, and also just responding from losing maps and stuff like that. They've recovered really, really well. This is a great way to see. First time on a stage, and they look dominant.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can hear play of the game going on. It is going to be a Graviton Surge, but all you see is Team Sweden, and they are the victors. And, of course, they are going to join, I believe it was Spain at the top of their group. Spain played at the top of the day if you missed it. But, guys, thank you very much. Let's get over to the desk to take us through that quick game.